The phone is silent, but the room is not. It's filled with the sound of his absence, a specific kind of quiet that has weight, that presses on your chest. It's not the peaceful silence of being alone. It's the charged, humming silence of an unanswered question. Your mind says, let it go. He's not writing. That's the answer. But your body still waits. There's a tension in your shoulders, a subtle alertness in your nervous system, still attuned to the phantom vibration of a message that never arrives. You find yourself rereading old conversations, not for the words themselves, but for the feeling they once gave you. You search for a clue, a sign, a breadcrumb that proves you didn't imagine the intensity of the connection. It felt real. It felt significant. More than just attraction, more than just a passing interest. There was a moment, perhaps just one, where you looked at him and felt a sense of recognition, as if you were meeting someone you already knew. And he felt it too. You saw it in his eyes. It was a silent agreement, a shared glimpse into a deeper possibility. And then, nothing. The communication dwindles, becomes one-sided, and finally ceases altogether. The warmth is replaced by a formal, impenetrable distance. He is silent. Yet, you have this unshakable, almost maddening intuition that he is still thinking of you. It's not a hope born of desperation, not entirely. It feels like a subtle, energetic thread that hasn't been cut. You sense his thoughts, his conflict, his presence in your quiet moments. You might see his name pop up, viewing your stories online, a ghost in the machine, leaving no trace but confirming he is still looking. And this contradiction is the source of the deepest pain. The silence on the outside screams a message of rejection, while the feeling on the inside whispers a story of an unresolved connection. You are caught in a psychological trap. Your friends give you logical advice. If he wanted to, he would. His silence is a clear message. You deserve better than someone who plays games. And you know they are right on a rational level. But their logic feels like it's describing a different situation entirely. It doesn't touch the core of what you're experiencing. It doesn't explain why this particular silence feels so profound, so loud, so full of unspoken meaning. It doesn't explain why a man who seems so captivated, so present, could simply vanish without a word, while your intuition tells you he is still wrestling with your memory. This is where the logic of everyday relationships breaks down. And this is where we must look deeper, not for a trick to make him talk, but for the truth of what his silence is revealing about the hidden dynamics of the human psyche. The discomfort you feel is not just about a potential lost relationship. It is the discomfort of holding a powerful psychic energy that has nowhere to go. The intensity you felt was real, but its source might be different from what you believe. This is not about manipulation, nor is it about false promises that he will return. This is about understanding the powerful, unconscious forces that create these magnetic and often painful connections. And here, the work of Carl Jung becomes not an academic theory, but a lamp in a dark room. He provides a map for this strange territory, a language for what you are feeling. The key concepts are projection and the anima, and understanding them will not necessarily bring him back, but it will, without a doubt, bring you back to yourself. The surface story is simple. He lost interest, he's busy, he met someone else, he's emotionally unavailable, and any of these could be partially true. But they don't explain the sheer magnetic force of the initial connection, the feeling of destiny or fatedness that surrounded it. Jung would suggest that such an intense and immediate bond is rarely about the two people as they truly are. Instead, it is often a sign of a powerful, mutual projection. Think of it like this. Inside every woman, there is an unconscious masculine image, a composite of all her experiences and archetypal ideas of the masculine. Jung called this the animus. Similarly, inside every man is an unconscious feminine image, the anima. When you meet someone and feel that instant, electrifying click, it's often because they provide a perfect screen for you to project your inner image onto. You are not seeing the real person in their entirety. You are seeing a reflection of a part of your own soul. You fall in love, not just with him, but with the part of yourself he has suddenly brought to life. This is why the connection felt so deep, so fast. It was a conversation between two souls, but at one remove. It was your animus recognizing a potential carrier in him, and his anima recognizing a carrier in you. This is the magic that feels so real. It's the magic of the psyche seeing itself in another. But here is the paradox and the source of his silence. For a man who is not deeply in touch with his own inner world, the activation of his anima is both intoxicating and terrifying. When he looks at you, he doesn't just see you, he sees the embodiment of his own soul, his own vulnerability, his deepest feelings, his creative potential, and all the aspects of the feminine he has not yet integrated into his own conscious personality. He sees a goddess, a mystery, a force of nature that promises both ecstasy and dissolution. At first, this is exhilarating. It makes him feel alive, inspired, whole. He is drawn to you like a moth to a flame. He feels seen in a way he has never been seen before. But the ego, the conscious part of his personality that runs his daily life, quickly becomes alarmed. The ego's job is to maintain control, order, and predictability. The anima, when projected with such force, is the opposite of all that. She is chaotic, emotional, and powerful. She threatens to overwhelm his carefully constructed sense of self, his persona of being strong, rational, and in control. His ego panics. It perceives this intense connection not as love, but as a threat of being consumed, of losing himself. The very woman who made him feel more alive than ever before now feels like a danger to his stability. And so, the ego does what it knows best. It builds a wall. It cuts off the connection. It enforces silence. His silence is not necessarily a cold, calculated rejection of you. It is a desperate, unconscious act of self-preservation. He is running not from you, the real person, but from the overwhelming power of his own projection that you are carrying. He is trying to put out the fire because he is afraid it will burn down his house. He pulls away to regain his sense of control, to push the powerful, emotional world of the anima back into the unconscious where it belongs. He might tell himself he's not ready for something serious, or that he needs to focus on his career, or that it was too intense, too fast. These are the rationalizations his ego provides to justify the retreat. The deeper truth is that he encountered his own soul in you, and he was not equipped to handle the meeting. So, when your intuition tells you he is still thinking of you, it is likely correct. He is. He is wrestling with the memory of that intensity. He is haunted by the feeling you ignited in him. In his mind, you have become a symbol of a part of himself that he both longs for and fears. He is in a silent battle with his own anima. He might be trying to convince himself that it wasn't real, that he was just infatuated, but the emotional resonance of the encounter doesn't simply disappear. It lingers in his unconscious, creating a tension, a feeling of something important left unresolved. This is the energy you are picking up on. It is not necessarily a sign that he wants to be with you. It is a sign that his encounter with you has created a profound disturbance in his own psyche. But this is only half of the story. To focus only on his psychology is to remain a passive victim of his dynamic. The real power, the real path to freedom, lies in turning the mirror back towards yourself. The most important question is not, why is he silent, but rather, why does his silence have such a profound effect on me? Just as he projected his anima onto you, you projected your animus onto him. You saw in him the embodiment of your own inner masculine qualities, perhaps strength, conviction, purpose, creativity, or a sense of adventure. He became the screen for the part of your own potential that you had not yet fully owned. That feeling of recognition was you recognizing a dormant aspect of your own being. When you are captivated by a man in this way, you unconsciously hand over the key to a part of your own soul. You make him the keeper of your strength, your validation, your sense of purpose. You believe, unconsciously, that you need him to feel complete, to activate these qualities within yourself. This is why his withdrawal feels so devastating. It's not just a man walking away. It feels as if a vital part of your own self has been ripped away. The silence is not just an absence of his voice. It is the silence of a part of your own potential that you believe only he can awaken. This dynamic often hooks into a pre-existing wound, what Jungians might call a complex. Perhaps it's an abandonment complex from early childhood. His silence doesn't just feel like a modern dating inconvenience. It feels, in your body, like a life or death threat of being left alone, of being unworthy of love. Or perhaps it hooks into a father complex, where you have spent your life seeking validation from a masculine figure that was emotionally distant or critical. His silence perfectly replicates that old, painful pattern, and your psyche is desperately trying to win this time, to finally get the approval you never received. The pain you are feeling is a signal. It is your own unconscious mind calling for your attention. The intensity of your suffering is directly proportional to the importance of the part of yourself that you have projected onto him. The more it hurts, the more vital that lost piece is to your own wholeness, to your own individuation, the Jungian term for becoming the person you were always meant to be. This is the turning point. The moment you shift your focus from decoding his behavior to decoding your own reaction. You stop being an amateur detective trying to figure him out and become a compassionate archaeologist of your own soul. What qualities did you see in him that felt so vital? Was it his confidence, his creativity, his passion, his perceived wisdom or stability? Make a list. Be honest. These are not his qualities. These are the qualities of your own animus, waiting to be integrated into your conscious personality. You did not fall in love with him. You fell in love with the promise of your own wholeness, which you saw reflected in him. His silence, then, is an unintentional gift. It is a harsh and painful gift, but a gift nonetheless. It creates a void, an empty space where his presence used to be. And your natural instinct is to try to fill that void with obsessive thoughts about him, with replaying memories, with checking his social media, with waiting. But the true work is to consciously choose to fill that void with yourself. This is the process of withdrawing the projection. It is not a one-time decision, but a practice. Every time your mind drifts to him, you gently bring it back to yourself. You ask, what is the feeling he evoked in me, and how can I cultivate that feeling for myself, today? If you admired his sense of freedom, where can you be more free in your own life? If you were drawn to his creative spark, what small creative act can you undertake for yourself? If you miss the feeling of being seen, how can you begin to truly see and validate yourself? This is not about pretending you don't care. It's not about becoming cold or building a wall around your heart. It is the opposite. It is about turning that powerful, loving energy that you were directing outwards, back inwards. It is about tending to your own inner garden instead of staring at his locked gate. When you start doing this, something remarkable happens. The emotional charge around his silence begins to dissipate. It's like turning down the volume on a loud noise. It's still there, but it no longer dominates your entire awareness. You begin to feel a sense of your own center returning. The frantic, anxious energy of waiting is replaced by a quieter, more grounded sense of self-possession. You stop checking your phone with that mix of hope and dread. You start living your life not as a performance to make him regret leaving, but as an authentic expression of your own being. The focus shifts from, will he see my worth, to, am I living in alignment with my own worth? If this reflection names something you have felt but never been able to put into words, take a moment to acknowledge that. This is not about blame. It is about seeing a hidden pattern with clarity for the first time. Seeing the pattern is the first step to breaking free from it. As you continue this inner work, you begin to integrate your animus. You stop looking for a man to complete you because you are actively completing yourself. The strength, the purpose, the validation you projected onto him, you are now finding it within. You become your own source. And now, we return to the question of him. What happens if he does break the silence? What if, after weeks or months, a message appears on your phone? The man who retreated from the intensity of the anima projection is often drawn back by its absence. When you withdraw your projection, he is no longer carrying the impossible weight of being your God, your savior, your everything. The pressure is off. He is also no longer feeling the intense pull of his own projection, because you are no longer a passive screen for it. You have taken your energy back. Paradoxically, this is often what allows the real man to finally see the real you. He might feel your absence not as a void, but as a newfound quietness. The psychic noise has stopped. He might become curious. He might miss not the idealized goddess, but the actual person he had a glimpse of before the projections took over. If he does reach out, he will not be met by the same woman. He will not find the woman who was anxiously waiting, the woman whose self-worth was hanging on his every word. He will meet a woman who is grounded in her own center, a woman who is whole, with or without him, a woman whose silence is not a tactic, but a sign of her own inner peace. She is no longer desperate for his validation because she validates herself. She is no longer trying to prove her worth because she inhabits her worth. She can engage with him from a place of curiosity and sovereignty, not from a place of need. She can assess whether the real man, with all his flaws and fears, is someone she actually wants in her life, now that the magical projection has dissolved. The power dynamic has been completely transformed. The question is no longer, does he want me, but do I want him? And what if he never reaches out? This is the most crucial part of the transformation. If you do this work authentically, you will arrive at a place where it no longer matters in the same devastating way. The goal of withdrawing the projection is not to lure him back. That would just be a more sophisticated form of manipulation. The true goal is to reclaim your own soul. If he never returns, you have not lost. You have won back the most important part of yourself. The pain of his silence will have served its ultimate purpose. It forced you to embark on a journey of integration, to meet and own the powerful, beautiful parts of yourself that you had given away. You will have transformed the lead of heartbreak into the gold of self-knowledge. The relationship, however brief, becomes a catalyst for your own individuation. His silence stops being a testament to your unworthiness and becomes the quiet space in which you finally learn to hear your own voice. The story is no longer about him. It's about you. It was always about you. He was just the messenger, the figure who appeared in your life to deliver a difficult but vital invitation, the invitation to come home to yourself. So let the phone be silent. Let the quiet in the room be your own. The story is not over. It is just beginning. And for the first time, you are the one holding the pen. My silence is not a game. It is my return to myself. This inner silence is not emptiness. It is fullness. It is the sound of your own life returning to you. And this return journey happens not just in the mind, but deep within the cells of your body. Let's talk about the body memory layer of this experience, because this is where the ghost of the connection truly resides. When the projection was active, your body was humming on a different frequency. You felt more alive, more vibrant. This wasn't just a psychological high, it was a physiological reality. Your nervous system was in a state of heightened, positive arousal. The projection released a cascade of neurochemicals, dopamine, oxytocin, that made you feel bonded, euphoric, and deeply seen. Your body literally learned to associate his presence, or even the thought of him, with this state of blissful aliveness. When he withdraws, your body experiences a profound and brutal withdrawal. It's not just your heart that's broken, your nervous system is in shock. It goes from a state of euphoric connection to a state of high-alert abandonment. This is the source of the physical pain of heartbreak, the tightness in your chest, the ache in your stomach, the feeling of being cold or hollow. Your body is screaming for its fix, for the person who it believes is the source of that aliveness. It is still scanning the environment for him, which is why every notification on your phone can feel like a jolt of electricity, a mix of terror and hope. This is the body's memory of the trauma. It doesn't understand Jungian psychology. It understands survival. And it has registered his absence as a threat. The work of withdrawing the projection is therefore also a physical practice. It is about patiently reteaching your nervous system that you are its source of safety and aliveness, not him. This happens in small, consistent moments. It happens when you feel the wave of anxiety rise, and instead of reaching for your phone to check on him, you place a hand on your heart, take a deep breath, and whisper to your own body, "I am here. I am safe. I am not leaving." It happens when you move your body not to look good for someone else, but to feel the pleasure of your own strength, through dance, through yoga, through a simple walk in nature where you pay attention to the feeling of the ground beneath your feet. You are literally rewiring your neurology, creating new pathways that associate pleasure, safety, and vitality with your own presence. You are calming the frantic animal part of your brain that believes it has been left to die, and reassuring it that the pack leader, you, is still here. But there is another layer we must uncover, one that is often more difficult to face. This is the layer of the shadow. The animus projection is rarely just about the golden, idealized qualities. Often, unconsciously, we also project our own disowned shadow onto the other person. The shadow, in Jungian terms, is the part of ourselves that we repress and deny. It contains the qualities we believe are unacceptable: our anger, our selfishness, our capacity for cruelty, our own emotional unavailability. Look again at the man who went silent. Alongside the wonderful qualities you projected, his creativity, his strength, did you also perceive a certain coldness, a distance, a cutting ability to detach? And did that, in a strange way, also fascinate you? Often the man who becomes the carrier for a powerful animus projection also embodies a quality of the woman's own unacknowledged shadow. Perhaps you have always been the good girl, the one who is always available, always accommodating. His ability to simply walk away, to put his needs first with a brutal finality, might be a perfect hook for your own repressed shadow animus. You are both repulsed and secretly fascinated by this quality, because it represents a freedom you have never allowed yourself. His silence, then, becomes a mirror for your own inability to set boundaries, to say no, to choose your own well-being over the comfort of another. The pain is amplified because he is acting out a part of your own psyche that you desperately need to integrate. To heal, you must ask, where in my life do I need to become silent? Where do I need to withdraw my energy from people and situations that are draining me? Where do I need to embody that same ruthless focus on my own path? When you begin to own this shadow aspect, you stop seeing his silence as something that was done to you and start seeing it as a powerful demonstration of something you need to learn to do for yourself. This is not about becoming cold or cruel. It is about integrating the healthy, protective aggression of the animus, the ability to guard your own energy and your own sacred space. His withdrawal forces you to develop your own spine of steel, to find the part of you that can say, "My needs matter," and mean it. As you do this work, reparenting your nervous system and integrating your shadow, you will notice concrete signs that the projection is truly dissolving. These are not grand, dramatic shifts, but quiet, internal changes. You'll hear the song that was your song, and instead of a stab of pain, you'll feel a gentle, distant fondness, like looking at a photograph from a past life. You'll see his name appear somewhere, perhaps a comment on a mutual friend's post, and you will feel a flicker of recognition, but not the gut punch of obsessive curiosity. The urge to click on his profile will be weak, easily dismissed. You will begin to have dreams where the dynamic has shifted. Instead of dreaming that you are desperately chasing him through endless corridors, you might dream that you are packing a suitcase, or that you are driving your own car down an open road. He might be in the dream, but he is no longer the central character. You are. These are dispatches from your unconscious, confirming that the work of reclamation is succeeding. The most telling sign is a feeling of spaciousness opening up in your mind. The mental real estate that was once occupied by obsessive thoughts about him, analyzing his motives, replaying conversations, fantasizing about his return, is now free. And into this space, new ideas, new interests, and a genuine excitement for your own unwritten future begin to flow. You start thinking about a trip you want to take, a class you want to sign up for, a project you want to start. and these thoughts are filled with energy and possibility, not as a distraction from the pain, but as the authentic expression of your own life force returning. This brings us to the final, practical test. The moment the projection has truly been withdrawn is the moment the universe often decides to send a quiz. After weeks or months of silence, your phone buzzes. It's him. In the past, this moment would have sent a shockwave through your entire system. Your heart would pound, your hands would shake, your mind would race with 1,000 possibilities. It would feel like a moment of destiny. But now, it's different. You look at his name on the screen. You feel a calm curiosity. There is no seismic jolt. Your nervous system, which you have so patiently retrained, remains regulated. You feel your feet on the floor. You feel the steady rhythm of your own breath. You have become your own anchor. You read his message. Perhaps it's a casual, "Hey, how have you been?" Or maybe it's a more direct, "I've been thinking about you." The old you would have seen this as an opening, a chance to finally get the answers you craved, to pull him back in. The new you, the integrated you, sees it for what it is, a simple piece of data. You are not swept away by the current. You are standing on the riverbank, observing. You can now feel the subtle, energetic reality behind his words. Is he reaching out from a place of genuine, sober reflection? Or is he reaching out because he's lonely on a Saturday night and is looking for that familiar hit of adoration that your projection once gave him? Because you are no longer projecting, you can see him more clearly. You are not looking at a god or a savior. You are looking at a man, with his own fears, his own needs, and his own level of self-awareness. The power is entirely yours. Not the power to punish him or play games, but the sovereign power to choose. The question is no longer, how do I get him back? The question is, now that I have myself back, does this person, in his reality, truly add to my life? And you might find, to your own surprise, that the answer is a quiet, gentle no. Or perhaps a maybe, let's see. The outcome is no longer tied to your sense of worth. This is the ultimate freedom. His silence was the prison, but his return is not the liberation. The liberation was the inner work you did during his absence. And so, the journey comes to a quiet close. It was never truly about him. He was the catalyst, the grit of sand in the oyster that prompted the creation of the pearl. The pearl is your own integrated soul, your wholeness. You can now hold it in your hand and see its luster, a beauty forged in the darkness and the pressure of a painful silence. You will love again, but it will be different. You will not fall into a projection. You will walk, with eyes wide open, into a connection. You will be drawn not to the man who feels like a missing piece of your own soul, but to the man who stands whole beside you, a sovereign being on his own journey. The love will not feel like a frantic, desperate magic, but like a deep, resonant peace. It will be the quiet joy of two whole people choosing to share their light, not to fill their own emptiness. The room is silent now, and it is a good silence. It is the sound of peace. It is the sound of you, finally, wholly, and completely at home with yourself.